As we all know, hunger is the in thing in Nigeria right now as a result of the lockdown. Be your brother's keeper. Be a good Samaritan. Show some love. Share what you have with others. The lockdown is not a period that got everybody smiling. Share some love. This show, The Lifeline on ECWA Television, brings together the needy and the giver to share in the moment of the lockdown. This show is on ECWA Television every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, 4 p.m. It's a live show, so you can call and make your contributions.
There was the 1918 influenza that infected nearly a third trusted source of the world's population before it fizzled out. Then came other interesting threatening viruses that appeared out of nowhere: severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS, acquired immune deficiency syndrome, HIV/AIDS, the H1N1 influenza in 2009, and Ebola. Then now, the global talk, coronavirus. This is The Lifeline. My name is Tony J. Nakale. I have Valia Gado, I have Solomon Sambo Sabi, and I have Mr. Donald Weze. You're all welcome to the show.
Thank you.
As regular, this is the gang that will always host the show for you to watch. Today on the show, we are going to be discussing COVID-19 versus other diseases. And this topic came from the concern that people are raising, and we feel the need to change the previous topic to this one because it's an issue that is ravaging our ears every now and then. People are saying, let's just get used to the realities of this disease and have our pre-existing lifestyles back and all of that. So we are going to be measuring on, there are several other diseases that are existing in the world, like I said in my opening, but we are going to be measuring on the flu. We are going to be measuring on HIV/AIDS. We are going to be measuring on SARS. And then we are going to be talking about the coronavirus. There's nothing new about coronavirus except the death tolls, the number going all higher and higher every day, and what have you. So you are welcome to the show once more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How was your days? How was it?
Hectic, but glory be to God.
We have to keep the conversation very straight to the point, as we apologize for starting a little behind schedule. Sometimes you cannot just doubt these technicalities, and we are doing our best to keep up with the timing. Thank you very much for staying tuned always. You can make your contributions on social media, any of the social media handles at ECWA Television. Valia Gado, what do you have for us? What is the name of your disease?
It is called SARS, severe acute respiratory syndrome.
Yeah.
All right, SARS is COVID-19, which is caused by the new coronavirus, has been dominating the news lately. I will tell you at this point that there's a close relationship between SARS and COVID-19. Let's get the relationship now. However, you may have first become familiar with the term coronavirus during the severe acute respiratory syndrome SARS outbreak in 2003. But COVID-19 and SARS are caused by coronaviruses. The virus that causes SARS is known as SARS-CoV, while the virus that causes COVID-19 is known as SARS-CoV-2. There are also other types of human coronaviruses. Despite their similar name, there are several differences between the coronaviruses that causes COVID-19 and SARS. You might want to respond to that.
Yes, you know, now COVID-19 is a household name. Yes, every little boy. In fact, I can tell you that even the child in the womb
knows
coronavirus because of the way the mom react when she hear the name COVID-19. You know, right now the disease is ravaging the world, which is not a news. Now the idea is how to fight it. The issue of vaccine. Now that is what is on top gear now. And then scientists are doing their best. Glory be to God, because the issue of remedy is coming close to us here in Africa, Madagascar. The issue of their vaccine.
The herbal, is it a herbal vaccine?
The herbal vaccine. Yeah. And we are trusting God that sooner or later this disease will be over, just like other diseases that
Came and went.
Yeah.
All right, so Mr. Donald,
Yes.
do you have, what is your disease?
Well, I reject my disease and I just call
I was expecting that.
Well, we are talking the human immunodeficiency virus, HIV popularly called. And this is a virus that damages the immune system of the human body. And the immune system of the human body, of course, is what our body generates to fight infections. Now, untreated HIV kills what we call the CD4 cells in the human body. And now, this CD4 cells is an immune cell which is bringing it down to our level called T cells. And over time, HIV has killed, after it has killed the CD4 cells, then the body is more likely to get various types of infections and cancers. That is what it does. Now, the HIV has 4 stages. It has what we call the infection stage, and in this infection stage, you can get infected through blood transfusion, semen, vaginal and rectal fluids, or even breast milk. So the second stage is the asymptomatic stage, where you have it, but you may not know that you have it. So it's living in your body, but it does not present itself. Now, stage 3 is what we call the symptomatic stage of HIV. And at that symptomatic stage, that is when the presentation comes up and you begin to find people having fever, cough, and so many other little opportunistic diseases, you will call them, that they begin to present themselves. At that stage, the symptoms show. And after it shows, and then you by virtue of your immune system having been compromised by the presence of HIV in your body, it now blooms out to become what we call HIV or AIDS. Yes, that is the acquired immune deficiency syndrome. Yes, so that is one of it. So you could want to ask a question and say, what causes HIV? It is also a coronavirus.
Yes, that's true.
It's part of this family that we are talking about, that has given birth to the COVID-19 that we are talking about.
Primarily, these diseases are birthed out of animals to humans and all of that. So you may want to respond to his.
I'll be waiting for him to land so I can do that.
Yes.
HIV seemed to have a related source with SARS and then to some other diseases and all that. But one thing I've noticed about HIV generally, when it first came, it was like a death sentence. And then the same applies to the COVID-19, like a death sentence. Nobody knows the cure. It's a strange disease and you've got to be very careful. And then I remember anytime you're told or someone is told that he or she has HIV or is positive, the person feels he or she is dead already. But with time, we began to cope with the disease gradually. And then now it's a normal thing. We're able to manage it. NGOs have come that are able to manage this particular disease. And now it's like it's almost not in existence at the moment. And I believe that it has a close relationship with COVID-19. That period will come when we'll get used to some of the rules and regulations you need to abide by. Those rules and regulations for COVID-19 that came up is strange. So a lot of people are not used to it. But with constant talk, constant engagement, before you know it, people will get used to it and it will become a normal thing. I would say that in terms of the spread, COVID-19 has a wider spread compared to HIV/AIDS. For HIV/AIDS, it has to be contact with one blood that is infected and with another blood that is not infected, and the other person gets infected. But COVID-19 is slightly different. Just a droplet from the mouth or from any organ of the body, you contact it. So it's rapid, it's fast.
Valia, people don't know that HIV has been existing for a long time. In fact, when I was going through journals and research to find out what exactly HIV is all about, it had a variation which affected the African chimpanzee, and scientists suspect that the simian immunodeficiency virus jumped from chimps to humans when people consumed infected chimpanzee. You know, in Africa we eat a lot of bushmeat and stuff like that. Well, it first occurred in the 1920s. And HIV spread from person to person throughout Africa over the course of several decades. Eventually, the first time that HIV now came into full bloom was in 1959. And then in the recent past, it is now all over the world and people are talking about HIV and what have you.
And another thing I noticed about HIV, it came strong in Africa compared to the outside world. You know, it seemed like there was a control somehow, but Africa was at the receiving end. And then COVID-19, the European world was at the receiving end, and then later it gradually spread, and then Africa is now suffering from it, and it's as if Africa is now preferring solution to COVID-19 with the creation of herbal vaccine. That's a Madagascar herbal vaccine.
That's true. Okay, so let's take your. Have we taken yours already?
No.
Okay.
Ebola.
That's your disease. That's your disease. So let's take Solo's disease.
You know, Ebola virus disease, EVD, formerly known as Ebola hevorix all these scientific
the botanical name.
Hemorrhagic fever, you know, is because Valia.
It's permitted, just pass. You understand the message.
It's severe, often fatal illness in humans, and the virus is transmitted to people from wild animals, you know, and then to human population through human-to-human transmission. The average EVD fatality case is around 50%. The case, which is now varies. The fatality rate varies from 50 to 90 in the past outbreaks. You know, and then one thing that I check and I realize with all of these diseases, the issue is managing the whole disease. And then I look at it, Ebola, when it came, particularly narrow it to Nigerian case study, when soya came to Nigeria with the issue. You could see the way the Nigerian government manage or handle the whole situation. You know, good outbreak control relies on applying a package of interventions, namely case management, infection prevention and control practices, surveillance, and contact tracing. You know, a good laboratory service, safe and dignified burial, and social mobilization.
Wow, that's Ebola. So the flu now, since the new coronavirus was discovered in January, many people have compared it with a more well-known disease, the flu. Many of these comparisons pointed to the perhaps underappreciated toll of the flu, which causes millions of illnesses and tens of thousands of deaths every year in the US alone. During the current flu season, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, estimates that there have been 39 to 65 million flu illnesses. Can you imagine? 39 to 65. And 24,000 to 62,000 flu deaths in the US only. Although that number is an estimate based on hospitalizations with flu symptoms. not based on the number of people that it has killed and they have read. So coronavirus is not just the disease that is a death sentence. Is a disease that is terrible. All these diseases are terrible in nature, and then we all know that these are all lab concoctions. You understand?
Yes.
And for whatever reasons the lab concoctions are there, we don't know. But then we just have to notice that these are diseases that when you take the precursive measures that are given, you stay safe from it. And then we are talking about, if you are just tuning in, we are talking about COVID-19 versus other diseases. And we're going to take a break quickly. Right after the break, we'll start taking your calls. I notice people have been dialing our numbers, and it's already 4:30. So it's almost 4:30. We'll take the break. When we are back, we'll start taking your calls.
Keep a date with the Lifeline on ECWA Television Africa every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday by 4 p.m. with repeats Mondays and Wednesdays at 8 p.m., Saturday 8:30, and Sunday 9 p.m. Keep watching the Lifeline on ECWA TV Africa. Leaders and the Lead shows every Tuesday and Saturday by 7:30 p.m. on ECWA Television Africa with repeats on Thursdays and Mondays 1 p.m. Keep watching Leaders and the Lead on ECWA TV Africa. The Midday Show live on ECWA Television every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, with repeats on Monday by 10 p.m., Wednesdays by 9 a.m., and Fridays by 1 p.m. The Midday Show live only on ECWA TV Africa. Keep watching ECWA Television Africa for wonderful and inspiring episodes of The National Talk every Thursday and Friday by 8 p.m. with repeats on Friday by 1 p.m. and Saturdays at 8:30 a.m. Keep watching National Talk on ECWA Television Africa. Watch the dailies every Monday to Friday by 9 a.m. with repeats by 3:30 p.m. and 11 p.m. daily. The dailies only on ECWA TV Africa. Watch today's live on ECWA Television Africa every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, 10 a.m. with repeats on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 9 p.m. Keep watching ECWA Television Africa. As we all know, hunger is the in thing in Nigeria right now as a result of the lockdown. Be your brother's keeper. Be a good Samaritan. Show some love. Share what you have with others. The lockdown is not a period that got everybody smiling. Share some love. This show, The Lifeline on ECWA Television, brings together the needy and the giver to share in the moment of the lockdown. This show is on ECWA Television every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, 4 p.m. It's a live show, so you can call and make your contributions.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, is the Lifeline on ECWA Television, and we are talking about COVID-19 versus other diseases. We have mentioned a few diseases, like 3 of them are the flu, SARS, and HIV/AIDS, and then the 4th one is COVID-19, which is the global language right now. Funny how COVID-19 has united the whole world. Everybody is talking coronavirus and all of that. And right now we are in the phone-in segment. We want to plead that before you call us, you turn down the volume of your TV sets so that you can be able to hear us well, and we hear you well without the delays. And thank you very much for always calling to make your contributions. So now we have found out that COVID-19 is not just the is not the deadliest disease. HIV has claimed I think over 40 million lives, between 40 and 50 million lives from when it started existing. SARS, I think, is also uncountable in that range. And then we have the coronavirus, which is claiming close to 5 million, which has claimed close to 5 million lives, above 4.5 million lives so far within the shortest period of time that it has it's been existing, which is I think December last year.
Yes, you know, the problem, most of these diseases have similar presentations. And if one is not careful, you would think that maybe you have just SARS and then it turns out to be COVID or even Ebola. So I think that people out there should make sure that if they find they have some of these symptoms, they should better find a medical practitioner quickly so that they can ascertain what is wrong with them.
But like people will always say, prevention is extremely better than cure. Sure. So if the global research is showing that you should prevent yourself before it gets to you, that means there's nothing anybody can do, because if there's something anybody can do, the person would have done it by now. So far there is nothing anybody can do. Even the vaccines that we are asking to come to Nigeria fast, it's not a cure.
No, they are just
it's a prevention, that if you have it, like, it can be able to, your immune system can be able to fight it, you know, and maybe elongate the period of time you have to battle with it, and then maybe dies down, or you know, and all of that. Funny enough, some people have had contacts, like sexual contacts with people who have HIV/AIDS and are still living without this disease. Maybe, just maybe, is the immune system of the other person who's not a carrier. So we have the first caller, and let's hear what he has, or she. Hello, welcome to the live line. What is your name? Where are you calling from? All right, we've lost that call.
And the same applies to between HIV and COVID-19. If a woman is pregnant with or the woman is infected with HIV, or the woman has COVID-19, we have heard of safe delivery. Like, you're able to manage the situation. The baby comes out negative while the woman remains positive.
And I tend to look at the nature of how SARS, when it came from Asia, the level of approach they've given to it, you know, before the second family. Okay, they call?
Yeah. Okay. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, this is the live line. Please make your contributions. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Turn down the volume of your TV set.
My name is Stephanus. I'm calling from Sokoto.
You are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
What is your contribution, sir?
My contribution about these diseases in general, as you're discussing, especially this COVID-19, is really getting people very, very scared. People are becoming more reluctant, more scared compared to other diseases, as you're discussing. What I want to say about COVID-19, as you earlier said already, it's not a death sentence. But I think as Nigeria here, or Africa in general, where we are always faulty is about the preventive measures given to us. Most of the times, when we are being told about a particular thing, we make jest of it because very careless. Prevention, I think, is the absolute solution to this problem for now. Since there is no specific medication or vaccine for it, I think if we should take the preventive measures given to us very, very serious, I think we'll go very, very far in preventing the spread of this disease. My contribution is basically, let's emphasize on these preventive measures compared to any other thing. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Stephanus. Yeah, you see, that's what we have been saying. Don't say you have to go out and look for what to feed yourself and your family and all of that. It is very important. Look at Plateau State, where we are now. They opened out the relaxation period for people to restock. Nobody is restocking anything. Nobody has the money, but people are saying you are keeping us locked. Yes. You understand? So you have to prevent yourself regardless of other needs that are coming. If government finally says we have accepted the reality of this COVID-19 and we want people to have their regular lifestyles back, but these are the preventive measures, I'm telling you, COVID-19 can wipe more than half of Nigeria.
Sure. True. Because you see, we are very careless, and sometimes I just look at the way our people behave and think that we are too suspicious for in the extreme. When somebody says, do this one, it's for your own good, just go ahead and do it. But most of the times, we want to give an excuse for something that is just staring us in the face. You are insisting you want to go out. Okay, go out. The economy is collapsed, as far as I'm concerned, because you can't even access the money to even go and buy the food. So it's better to just stay home.
The whole thing is the controversy around even the presentation of this particular disease that we are talking about, COVID-19. You know, the presentation in our own part, this nation. You know, because you could hear a senior official who is on authority, you know, saying on TV, social media is everywhere that they are just marketing COVID-19 just to tide out some economic activities of some people or some country. You understand? And
there's no country you go to in the world today that the news of COVID-19 is 100% true. You understand? Government would always be government. You understand? Like someone said that you should rather listen to some guy who has just some 10-15 minutes to talk to you, or 1.5 to 2 minutes to talk to you about COVID-19 on YouTube than to listen to a professor that is in government. You understand?
Again, this debate brings back the memory of Ebola when it first came. A lot of people received text messages almost at the same time that you should take salt, you know, to prevent Ebola, and then the news went around the country like wildfire. Yes, within the shortest period of time. And if you observe the obedience that came with it, it was absolute. How come this is not the case with COVID-19?
Because you see, some of these things can be. You have heard something before, but there is a way I can present it that makes it new again. I think that is what happened then with the Ebola issue.
I remember I walked past a street. I was in a school, like a school environment, and then I saw a child walk past. He was going to school that morning, and then the child said that, my mother said. The child was telling his fellow pupil that my mother said that we should drink salt water and all of that, and that there's a disease called Ebola. As small as that boy was, I heard their conversation. They were just walking to school. And I said, wow, this small boy in the shortest period has gotten this message, and I just received it from text, and the orientation has already spread to a chap like this. Whoa.
You know, the gullibility of our people is also a catalyst towards not being able to manage some of these disease conditions as they present themselves. I give you an example. This morning, somebody came to my house and was talking. I watched Lifeline, how you people are working very hard to give people information about COVID-19. Yes.
Hello, turn down the volume of your TV sets. How are you? Where are you calling from? What is your name? This is the Lifeline.
Hello, turn down the volume of your TV sets. How are you? Where are you calling from? What is your name? Hello?
Turn down the volume of your TV set, please.
Hello? Hello?
I'm with you, sir. Oh, I think the network today is so... I'm so surprised that the calls are even trickling.
Yes.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Donald.
You know, so you can imagine, he said to me, he went to the market to buy ginger. And there is no ginger. If you find ginger today, it's very expensive. And I said, why? He said, they said that ginger is a cure to COVID-19.
Oh my God.
So there is, ginger's price has shot up in the market, and you can't even find it.
Including some leaves
And
too.
some
lemon too.
Lemon, and they're just not there.
I mean, I watched a skate. Is it a skit or a skit?
Skit,
Yeah, I watched a skit, and then the young man came in, and then he said COVID-19 is in trouble. You know, my friend, I've gotten the cure for COVID-19. All these things they are saying can't come to me. And the friend said, "Why? What are you doing with all these leaves and all these herbs that you have bought from the market?" And he said, "You see, he's going to take this leaf. By the time he combines this, he combines that, he combines that.
Like
that in fact, Madagascar, he will prefer a solution to Nigerians that will be."
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Samuel Adebi calling from Chicago State.
Yes, please turn down the volume of your TV set and make your contribution. Okay, we have lost that call. The network is terrible today, but it's all right. We keep up with the conversation.
So the friend had to quickly tell him that, no, don't go this way.
Yes.
We don't have a perfect cure for COVID-19. Just ensure that you abide by the rules and regulations. Social distancing, wear your face mask and all that. He then said, but a lot of news has been coming and he felt he should just prevent it, you know, with the Madagascar thing. He should do his own concussion, keep himself safe.
Yeah, Nigerians can joke about everything. Like I saw a picture that someone said, "Give me one plate of amala and 2 bottles of Madagascar herbal mixture." So you wanted to make a point?
Yes. You know, my point is that the way we dish out information, and thank God for ECWA TV, you know, all that we have been doing to really make sure that someone out there get it right. You know, the issue of Ebola when it came, you know, Nigerians were scared based on the nature of the way they presented the case of the disease, how rapid it can just kill. So everybody is afraid, because I remember at 1 o'clock they wake me up that we should go and bath.
Very true. That was exactly
bath with salt water. You know, I was like, why? Okay, what about the Ebola itself? The transmission, how is it? That's the first question I asked. So that Ebola is traveling from Lagos and it's around Zaramaganda. I was like, seriously? So sometimes out of curiosity and ignorance, you know, we just take any information and we just use it because we are afraid or something. Get the right information. That's why we are emphasizing the rules and regulation, what WHO say, this is how we would do, and then take this disease far away from us. Don't doubt them. Try and do the needful. I asked myself, I said, even if there's no disease, don't you wash your hands before you
regularly like on a normal day? On
a normal day. You know, I think the government too should try, and then whoever that can help to bring it down to the local level, because it's not everybody that can afford television or radio
to even hear the news of the remedy or the prevention.
So we have the Meangwas, we have the elders in the community. You know, we can break it down. Just let's go back to the way it used to be. Many what they call them.
This folk
he has gone to a lingua franca now.
He reminds me of our
the one
Town criers. Masishela. That will really, really help, you know. Man. Our people are willing, just like the case of that woman that lost her baby. You know, she bagged the baby with the face mark. And she goes to the market. And then before she knows, the baby, she lost the baby.
Oh my God, we have a caller. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Musa Isa calling from Kaduna.
Mr. Musa, how are you today?
I'm good.
Glory be to God. This is the Lifeline. We're talking about COVID-19 versus other diseases. What is your contribution?
My contribution there is that the situation of this COVID-19 and other diseases, COVID-19 has caused a lot of problems that lead to other diseases. Even this hunger today that we're into is another, it's a hunger virus. Let me put it this way. Because it caused a lot of problems to people. And you know, once you are not physical okay, you are not healthy, anything can come up. So I think COVID-19 has caused many diseases today that we cannot able to even that. So I want to solicit, use this medium to solicit to the federal government and our religion leaders to do something about that.
Thank you for your contribution, Mr. Musa.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Pastor Francis Osa. I'm calling from Kano.
How is Kano today, Mr. Francis?
To God be the glory.
Thank you very much. Make your contribution. COVID-19 versus other diseases. That's the topic of discussion today.
Yeah, the COVID-19 itself, we thank God for what is happening in Nigeria and how they have been able to control the victim body. My contribution is that the people that they have been discharging that are negative, what did they use to treat them? Hello?
We are with you, sir.
Yes. The many have been discharged because they are now negative, from positive to negative. What did they use to cure? What did they use to cure them?
Okay, I think we've lost that call. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling from? His concern, the previous caller's concern is the people that have been cured. How were they cured? What was used? And I raised this concern from the other episode that we had one time. You see, there's something a little bit fishy about the dissemination of information and all of that. Information gets to us truly because people have shared the NCDC e-flyers more than anything in the history of this country. People have shared it. You wake up to sad news every day. I think we are clocking almost 5,000 cases. And my concern also at the same time is, how can 5,000 people in Nigeria, or let's say 4,000, because we are not yet 5,000, be affected or infected by a certain thing, and then the people who are kins to these people have not raised alarm, they haven't said anything, nobody knows anyone, you understand, out of these 5,000 people. Well, a lot of people know, but we have not known. Though someone called us on this show to say that he's COVID-19 positive because he has all the symptoms and all of that, and he has been calling NCDC, nobody has responded. They have given flimsy excuses, one excuse to the other, and all of that. So it is also a thing of concern to me.
Yes.
You see,
Okay. I think that when a lot of Nigerians are concerned, I believe not only Nigerians, but a lot of people around Africa are concerned about the medication that the medical practitioners have used, and somebody is positive today, and then after a few days they say they have been discharged. I don't want to be, I don't want to stand privy for government, but it's like we are very good at abusing drugs. When it first started and President Donald Trump of the US said you could use chloroquine became scarce in Nigeria. Everywhere you went, there was no chloroquine. People were buying and drinking it, and then suddenly people were having problems of chloroquine poisoning, and they were now being hospitalized. So it's like possibly nobody wants to release information as to what was used to arrest such conditions in some of the people that have been discharged. Maybe because of the fear of drug abuse.
In other words, there is a cure.
It's very possible.
Yes.
It should be another day's talk.
Yes.
We are almost coming to an end. We are coming to an end. I don't think we can be able to take any more calls. This is a very wide topic. If we have, if the situation permits, we can do a part 2 of it. But I would like to get your individual concerns about the topic as we close. So I just start with Mr. Donald all the way down here.
Well, I would just read
brief as
some,
possible.
many things affect life expectancy for a person with HIV. Among these are CD force cell count, viral load, serious HIV-related illnesses, drug use, smoking, access, adherence and response to treatment, and other health conditions, as well as age. Age also has a major role to play. Let's keep our immune system balanced. Eat healthy, exercise, rest well, and I'm sure that some of these disease conditions will not come close.
Talking about exercise, people have to know what exercise fits their age range.
Yes.
So because I heard I lost a friend like in April. She just went out to jog and
Collapsed.
she fell down and she didn't check her blood pressure, and then it killed her. So I heard people from that death, people have been saying if you are 40 and above, you understand. Those of us
Be
that
careful,
are in our 20s, we shouldn't be concerned about this. So they said if you are 40 and above,
40 with gray.
if you are 40 and above, you should not jog, you should walk. That's what people say. Drink a lot of water. It's amazing a lot of things that water can do that we just take it only when we are thirsty. You understand, and all that. So before you exercise, make sure you know your health status so you just don't fall and collapse somewhere and then they start calling us to come and pick you somewhere. So
Yeah, we have so many diseases that are killing people globally. You know, internationally is reported that 1 to 3 million death is being caused by malaria globally. And then from ages 0 to 5, that's the range. And then we have 80 to 90% this happening in sub-Saharan Africa. What I'm saying, these diseases that are killing people, find a way of dealing with it just like the way they tackled SARS. Because when SARS came, it didn't last. Why? Because the rate of how it knocked someone down and then you are gone, it was a concern to where the virus came, you know, and they tackled it. The whole world came and then they tackled it there and then. So these diseases, we can end them. So let's do something.
Well, at this point, I would say that we can manage these diseases, and he said we can reduce the rate of spread drastically and effectively manage the disease and go back to living our normal lives, go back to, you know, living the way it used to be before. Although some things would have changed, you know, some things would have changed, but at least we'll get our system back and then things will go on. How should we do this? People, our traditional forms of communication should be maximized. You talked about the town crier. There are oral forms, you know, that are sung or composed in our local dialects, our local indigenous languages, and all that. These are forums that we can maximize, and then we should also be thinking of creating community radio because it will help a lot. Information at the global level can be broken down, brought down to the community level. If there is a community media, the community media can translate that information in the language that you understand, the primary person understand, and then before you know it, the management process is made easier and everything is well worked out. Most times when issues that has to come with when issues that pertains health and all that, a lot of people feel there's no place of information. Information and communication is very, very vital. In fact, there is health communication, there is agricultural communication, there is industrial communication. There are different forms of communication at different levels. So as a country, we need to give communication a priority so that we can always manage information at every level.
That's true. I remember in those days when someone had HIV/AIDS, like you said earlier in the show, someone had HIV/AIDS. He was like an outcast.
Yes.
You know, nobody wants to touch him. And we had a relation like that who came my mother used to accommodate all sorts of people. When you get sick in the village, they send you down to my mother, and she's nothing close to a doctor.
Able to manage
yeah.
the
We
situation.
had someone who was a close relation. The same mother that said they should bring him to us was the same mother that told us right after he drinks water with a cup, we should mark it. We don't throw them away, but we just mark it, till he died, and all of that. But look at what HIV today is. People living with HIV/AIDS are as healthy looking as we are. Everything has a way it can be managed. You understand?
Sure.
But you will not find out how to manage COVID-19 well now, until when it's almost going,
yes.
or everybody has made it part of them and all of that. So with what we have said, people should know that COVID-19 is not the only deadly disease. We have a lot of diseases that are deadly, but COVID-19 is new, and within the shortest period it existed, it is existing. It has claimed almost 5 million lives in the world globally. So if you have watched this episode and it has been a blessing to you, let us know how you enjoyed it and also how we can be better. And the number is on your screen. Next time you keep a date, in case you couldn't reach us today, you keep a date next time and communicate with us. The show is every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, 4 p.m. prompt. You can visit us on our social media platforms and also make your contributions: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The fallout of each disease largely depends on other circumstances. When we catch it, how contagious and fatal it is, how hygienic people are, and how quickly a vaccine or cure becomes available. If this cure is not available, vaccine is not available, the best cure is to stay safe and keep your loved ones safe as well. Please don't do what you cannot proudly tell us. I had Solomon Sambo Sabi, I had Valia, I had Donald Weze, my name is Tony J. Nakali. I all had them on the show. And we will see you on Monday, 4 p.m. God bless you. Don't do what you cannot proudly tell us. See you Monday. Peace out.
As we all know, hunger is the in thing in Nigeria right now as a result of the lockdown. Be your brother's keeper. Be a good Samaritan. Show some love. Share what you have with others. The lockdown is not a period that got everybody smiling. Share some love. This show, The Lifeline on ECWA Television, brings together the needy and the giver to share in the moment of the lockdown. This show is on ECWA Television every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, 4 p.m. It's a live show, so you can call and make your contributions.